You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
Hello. And across from you, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
I don't know if it's good afternoon or it's good morning.
It's both.
It's
a good
everything.
day.
It's just a good day.
Yes.
Good day.
And it's always a good day when we talk about the Bonati Spine Institute because we have amazing stories. And with that said, we want to just throw things right into our Back to Life segment.
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to the program Jeff Del Rey. Thank you for joining us. You have quite the story to tell. Just to give some background information, you were a previous patient of the Bonati Spine Institute.
I went in with bone spurs in my neck that was affecting my right arm, and that's how I was introduced to the Bonati Institute.
Got it. So this last, I don't even know how to really preface this. This was such an extraordinary case and accident that caused you to seek out Bonati yet again. Why don't you take it from the fact that you love to hunt? So take it from there.
Yes. And it was November the 19th of 2015. I was deer hunting out of a climbing tree stand.
Right.
The tree stand malfunctioned. I fell, landed on my head, and compressed the vertebrae in my neck. Goodness. I was totally paralyzed. Stayed on the ground for about 8 hours before they found me.
Okay, I need to ask you, Jeff, just quickly, normally when people hunt, aren't they with a group of people? Or did you kind of break away from the pack?
They usually
split
up.
They usually do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in a hunting club, but that particular day, it was in the middle of the week. Mm-hmm. Most of the people in our club hunt on the weekends.
Right.
And this was on a Thursday, so there was only 4 people there that day.
And so you laid there for 8 hours in the woods. And did you know already that you were hurt to the point of paralyzation? Could you move at all?
Yeah. I was awake for the entire thing, and I knew I was paralyzed from the neck down, and was extremely glad to see them when they did find me.
How'd they finally find you, Jeff?
Wow.
They contacted a friend of mine. I had actually called him to let him know where I was going to put this climbing tree stand because he was going to be there that weekend and I was going to be gone. So I was going to let him know so he could hunt it over the weekend.
Right.
And they thought to call him and ask him if he might have an idea of where I was at, and he was able to tell them exactly where I was.
So how did they get you out of the woods, Jeff?
They put me. They brought the paramedics back there with a utility trailer and a side-by-side ATV.
Wow.
They put me on a straight board and then strapped me down on the utility trailer and brought me out. I was probably a mile to a mile and a half back in the woods.
Oh. When you were on the ground, just waiting helplessly, because at that point you couldn't do anything, what type of thoughts were running through your mind?
Survival,
Right.
just trying to remain calm, trying to keep my breathing under control. I knew I was getting dehydrated, so I had to try to swallow my own saliva a lot and spit the dirt out because I had a lot of dirt in my mouth, and just try to be patient,
Right.
talk to God, and stay calm and wait for help.
Got it. So they find you. Obviously, they rushed you to some sort of emergency care.
Yes, they airlifted me to the nearest hospital. The first doctor that I talked to told me that I was going to be paralyzed from the neck down,
Okay.
and that they were going to have to amputate my right arm at the elbow.
Wow. And what did you do at that point?
Well, they had a plastic surgeon come in and look at my arm, and
Okay.
he said there was a possibility they could save my arm.
Right.
So I told him to go ahead and do that surgery, and then I told my family not to let anyone there at that hospital or anywhere around there operate on me.
Got
If
it.
there was anybody that was going to operate on my neck, I wanted it to be in Florida at the Bonati Institute.
It was a good thing that you knew of Bonati at that time.
Yes.
Can you tell me, they were saying for the rest of your life you would be paralyzed from the neck down.
That's correct.
What was life like for you at that time? You needed a team of people, your family, to help you move from place to place and to help you be fed.
Well, I spent 3 weeks at Rapides.
Okay.
They were able to just get me up to sit up on the side of the bed. That was a huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Turo in New Orleans and received physical therapy and occupational therapy
Right.
for about 6 weeks, which didn't really produce a lot of results
Okay.
as far as my movement and my abilities, but it did strengthen me and get me moving again.
Sure.
Then in March, I went to the Bonati Institute to have surgery.
And what happened at that meeting with Dr. Bonati?
Well, Dr. Bonati looked at it. He told me it was very serious, but he told me that he could help me. And I put all my faith in him.
Yeah. And what happened? Did you watch your surgeries?
Yes. I had the first surgery on my birthday on March the 8th.
Okay.
I was 59 that day, and I was awake, watched the surgery, felt good about everything, went into recovery, and during the surgery, Dr. Bonati was asking me to try to move my legs, and I think I just about kicked one of the instrument tables that they had above me.
Wow.
I just about kicked it over because my legs were moving so well.
And how did that
then-
feel? How did that feel? Because you had been paralyzed up to that point.
I was extremely happy. I had been moving my legs just a little, but nothing to the degree that I was moving them after that.
Right.
And then after the surgery, 6 days after the surgery, I was in the motel waiting for my second surgery, and I actually stood up by myself for the first time.
And we saw the video.
Unbelievable.
It brought tears to everybody's eyes, including myself. Jeff?
I'm sure your family and friends have taken great care of you through your life for your birthday, but I can't imagine a better birthday present.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That was, well, as it turned out, we were very down and disappointed and discouraged that day because we were battling with the insurance company about the second surgery.
Of
Right.
course.
And we had been sitting in the motel for all this time, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'd begin to wonder if I was doing the right thing. And just got the notion in my head, I feel like I can stand up. And so I did. And from there, it's just been a road to recovery. We went back on March the 15th, which was the next day, and had the second surgery. And then my hands started moving a little, and my arms started moving.
Mm-hmm.
So it's then from there, it's just one milestone after the next, after the next.
And again, after that, I think your insurance problems started again. And then you needed physical therapy. So they stopped your progress to make you go to physical therapy. And then, from what I understand, they're trying to stop your physical therapy now. So someone that they thought, by all accounts, was going to be paralyzed from the neck down, now up, walking, hand movement. Now they try to stall you again.
Why don't you tell us what is the name of the insurance company? We need to start to identify these cruel people.
This is United Healthcare.
Wow.
And I'm 59 years old now, and I've paid health insurance all of my adult life since I've been working since 18, 20 years old. And now when I need them, I have to fight.
Okay.
And Jeff, when you got to the Bonati Spine Institute, you literally came in on a stretcher, on a wheelchair. And when you left, you walked out.
I came in there having to use a lift to get me in and out of the vehicle. And everywhere I went, I was in a wheelchair, and they had to do manual transfers. Anyone who's ever had to deal with someone in a wheelchair knows what I'm talking about. Someone has to literally lift you and put you from the wheelchair into the bed, or from the wheelchair and into a recliner.
Right.
The lift we had to use because the vehicle that we had was so high that we couldn't do a transfer out of the wheelchair. We asked the insurance company to try and provide this lift for us, which was about $2,500, and they said no, that they wouldn't do that. They recommended that we buy another vehicle that would allow me to do transfers.
Wow, I'm sorry, we are out of time, Jeff. But God bless you. God bless
your family.
You, and continued good health and recovery.
Y'all say prayers for the Bonati Institute.
Well, we've all been saying prayers for you because you are.
Well, Dr. Bonati wants to help people.
Yeah.
And I hope that my story will get more people to him so that he can help them.
Jeff, tell me how you're doing now.
I'm up and walking. I'm not walking by myself, but I can stand up out of the wheelchair and I can walk around. I have to have a spotter with me because I'm still weak. But if I can get continued physical therapy and occupational therapy, I believe that in another 6 months I'll be able to get up and walk by myself without any trouble.
Wow.
Well, when we saw you at the clinic a couple of days ago, you really were walking.
I wish I could have had a snapshot of your face, Dr. Bonati, when you saw me stand up and walk.
I didn't recognize you when I looked and said, wow, what is this? And the other thing is when you were walking, you have a really great strength on the legs, and you were walking around 30 minutes, you said?
Yes, sir. The place where I'm receiving my therapy, they have a machine. It's a treadmill that has a balloon in it, and you get inside it, and it blows that balloon up underneath you and supports your weight. I'm walking at 60% of my body weight on that treadmill for 30 to 35 minutes each session.
That's incredible.
Oh,
incredible. As I said, as you progress further, we are going to send out our film crew to go capture your story because it's such an incredible one to tell. Thank you so much.
Well, I just hope that this will help someone to contact Bonati Institute, because Dr. Bonati, Dr. Uteg, all of them, they're miracle workers. They're vessels of God.
Wow.
Jeff, you get better. I promise you, I will talk Kimberly into sending her in a film crew. I'll come up there and we'll both go deer hunting at that club of yours.
There you go.
Come on, buddy.
Come on.
I'm ready, man. God bless you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Types of cases just like Jeff's are the reason why the Bonati Spine Institute is here to bring true patient relief and pain resolution and to get people to regain their strength and get back in motion. You're listening to American Medicine Today. Make sure you stay tuned because coming up, we'll have more. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results, no pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone, nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. the outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
And our other friend, Jeff Wagstaff.
That would be me. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And we're excited because joining us is Hollywood celebrity and addiction recovery expert, Michael Lohan, who many will know is the father of actress Lindsay Lohan. He's here to provide a rare look inside addiction. So thank you for being here, Michael.
Thank you, Kimberly. How are you? Hi, Ethan.
Good.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, guy.
Good.
We are doing well. Now, of course, it's no secret
Right.
some of the troubles that have plagued, not only your daughter, but yourself in the past and things like this. What are your thoughts, Michael, on how the Hollywood lifestyle, it's got to suck you in. It's got to just grab you with this. You can have anything, anytime.
Yep.
And there's always a lot of hangers-on. We've all seen Entourage, things like that. How much did the Hollywood lifestyle factor into your addiction?
Well, more for Lindsay and people of her caliber than me.
Right.
I mean, they have things thrown at them, whether it's jets. I went up to find her in Hollywood Hills one day, and there was, people playing poker with hundreds of thousands of dollars on a table and a mound of cocaine. People just throw it at them, and they'll, like you said, they open doors for them. They'll give them free whatever they want. So it's sad. I mean, it's just they entice them to do the wrong thing, and it's kind of hard when it's right there in front of you and you have an addiction problem.
How hard is it when somebody is in the midst of that Hollywood scene to get them to realize that they have a problem? Because they probably start thinking it's normal.
Yeah, it is. It's a way of life for them.
Right.
It's not for you to help them recognize it is a problem. It's them to recognize it. It gets to the point where, just a light bulb goes off and they realize that there's so many negative consequences, that whether they're losing their careers or they're losing jobs or whatever the case may be, that they have to do something about it. Sure, we can advise them and bring it to their attention, but unless somebody is ready to change, it's not going to happen.
Got it.
And I've heard you talk, actually you and I talked ahead of this interview, Michael, and you mentioned to me how, I loved the analogy that you used. You said with drug addiction, it's therapy. You talk about your problems. He said real medical problems, you cut your arm, you don't talk to the cut and it heals itself. I thought that was actually pretty brilliant. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, explain that whole thing.
Well, the thing is, like I was saying, I mean, treatment today is cookie cutter. People go into treatment programs and, you have one-on-one therapy. When you get it, maybe once a week, and you have group therapy and EMDR and things like that. It's all talking.
Sure.
You can't talk sobriety into somebody. Sure, you can help them identify their triggers. There's some trauma resolution you can bring to the table, but there's two big components they're missing. Number one is the medical component, and the second is the spiritual.
Okay.
The medical component comes in with, like I said, if you cut your arm, do you talk to it to make it better? Or do you treat it with ointment and bacitracin or whatever you need, iodine, whatever you have to put on it to make it better? Your brain is damaged. Your brain chemistry is off. Your organs are damaged. I just came from a doctor's office that I'm working with, and he said 90% of his clients have hepatitis C.
Oh.
That's scary.
90%.
Wow.
90%. Now, that's a medical component. I mean, you can't just make them better by talking to them. You have to heal their body. You need chelation therapy. Mm-hmm. You need heavy metal detox. You need a hyperbaric medicine to replace the cells that have been damaged. Okay. There's so many things. You can't just talk to someone and say, okay, 30 days is up, you're better, see you later, or go to an IOP program. And now when the rubber hits the road and they're not in a safe haven anymore where they can't get drugs inside a treatment center, which sometimes they can anyway, now they're in the real world.
They're going to relapse.
People are there.
You hear a lot that these rehabilitation centers are more or less like a vacation atmosphere some of the time, and it's not really geared towards helping. And then you have quite a relapse rate. So are you saying that's the case because they're not being addressed in the way they should be and treated?
You're exactly right, and it is like a vacation. They're away from it's a tune-up facility as far as I see it, because they're going there for 30 days. Here's how it works: they go to detox first for 5 to 10 days, and then they go to 20 days of treatment. You tell me, how is someone who's been doing drugs for a year, 5 years, 10 years, or even longer going to get better in 30 days? It's not going to happen. You're actually detoxing. If people know what detox really is, you're detoxing for a hell of a lot longer than 30 days.
Sure.
Because I mean, if people are on Suboxone, doctors, this is a long conversation. I want to make it short, though. But doctors put people on Suboxone to replace heroin. Suboxone's worse than heroin.
Right.
Suboxone has a longer shelf life in your body. I mean, if I detox someone off of heroin, it takes 5 to 7 days. But if they're on Suboxone, it could take a month or two.
Wow,
you tell me what's worse. Doctors are writing prescriptions for medications that are damaging people. It's worse than the illegal drugs they're getting.
Right. The same, isn't it? Oxycontin or
oxycodone.
One of those was also an alternative, and then everyone, and everyone has gotten hooked on that, if not worse than the other drugs.
You're 100% right, and the problem is that it's so highly incentivized by the pharmaceutical industry. They're paying these doctors and incentivizing them to write these scripts, and before you know it, they're hooked on the medications they're writing instead of the stuff they were buying on the street.
Right.
So it's not working. The whole system is broken. That's why we have a relapse rate nationally. A relapse rate of 9 out of 10 people relapse after going to treatment. So is it working? No.
Obviously not.
Based on your perspective, Michael, what is the answer? Because unfortunately in our business, we see it's far too common. But it's one thing to get somebody off to get recovery. It's a whole other process to keep them off. Yeah. Like you had identified. What's the answer?
Everyone's going to shoot me for saying this, but it's my answer. It's been my answer, and it truly is that God is the answer, to be honest with you. When you finally establish what's right and wrong in your life, and you say, this is a spiritual disease more than anything, because I'm doing all the things that God wouldn't want me to do. But, I mean, if you really look at it, there are secular answers that are out there, such as holistic medicine in general, adding that component to it. There's something out there that virtually stops the craving for alcohol and for all opiates. It's called naltrexone.
Okay.
And they're just not pushing it because it would kill the drug treatment industry. Naltrexone is an antagonist. It blocks your receptors in your brain. You do not crave alcohol. You do not crave opiates. It doesn't work on benzos, doesn't work on amphetamines, doesn't work on psychotropics, but it works on proven. Go and look online. Naltrexone, Naltrexone.
Wow.
This stuff works. Clinically proven to work to stop people from craving alcohol and opiates.
Wow.
But do they use it? No. That's one answer. The other answer is start treating the mind treat your body generally in more of a medical way as well.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to discuss this further with you, but thank you, Michael Lohan, celebrity addiction recovery expert and father of actress Lindsay Lohan. Thank you for providing a look into addiction.
Well, if anyone has any questions, they can go to soberservices.org and contact us, and it's free. We'll give them all the information they need, and we'll try to direct them in the right way to get help.
Very cool.
Soberservices.org. And next time you're in town here in Tampa, stop by the studio.
Come by.
I'd love to.
Okay.
Definitely. And thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Have a good one, Michael. See you later.
God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless. If you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, sciatic pain, reach out to Bonati at Bonati.com. 98.75% patient reported success. Make sure you stay tuned because coming up, we have something called Autism Lizard. Make sure you stay tuned because if you have anyone that's affected by autism, this is something you won't want to miss. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Vermel.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Vermel, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
And we're excited because joining us in studio is Colleen Sullivan, co-founder of Autism Lizard, a tailored video on-demand solution for working with children with autism and other related disabilities. So thank you for joining us, Colleen.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, Colleen, this is something Kimberly knows
Yes.
because anytime something dealing with autism comes up, I always want to talk about it,
Yes.
especially if it's something new and exciting because my nephew has autism. And you're local, so I thought, hey, let's reach out.
Exactly.
Seems
Thank
to be a pretty interesting concept. So tell us about your son, his disability, what made you come up with the idea, ABA therapy, summarize all of that good stuff.
Okay. So back when we adopted my son from the foster system, there was some developmental disabilities that we knew about.
Okay.
And we knew that there was some brain damage happening, which also was coupled with autism. And so right away, we did what the pediatrician, the neurologist, the psychiatrist told us to do, and that was get right into ABA therapy. That was
Right.
going to help the child's behavior.
Can you tell us what ABA therapy is?
Oh, yeah. So ABA therapy is applied behavior analysis.
Okay.
And what that is it's the gold standard that a pediatrician, a neurologist, a psychiatrist will have the child go through when they are diagnosed with autism. It also helps with other disabilities. And it's basically a therapist showing them how to act in society appropriately, because as we know, autistic kids have a deficit when it comes to social interaction.
Correct.
So the gold standard is the fact that it takes 25 to 40 hours per week for 1 to 3 years.
It's a full-time job, essentially.
It's a full-time job.
Teaching a child like this.
Right. It is a full-time job. And there aren't enough behavior therapists in the world.
That's a big thing, too, is that when I first spoke with you about coming on the show, and I mentioned that my nephew, they live out in Orlando about an hour away, you said, is he on a waiting list for a therapist? And I said, actually, he had been receiving ABA therapy, then that therapist transferred to another city.
no.
Now he's on a waiting list.
Now he's on a waiting list.
Because there's a shortage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the shortage is, let's just look at these numbers. There's 3.5 million people in America with autism.
Right.
There are 17,000 therapists.
70 or 17?
17,000.
So the odds are stacked against you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
yeah,
the type of therapy that you're talking about, is it supposed to be one-on-one, or is it one can oversee a small group? How does that work?
I'm glad you asked that. One can oversee a small group, but still there has to be that hands-on component.
Correct.
And there's another component that people don't know about. It's the parent involvement. It's teaching the parent
how to
the strategies.
Adapt, yeah.
Exactly. And I equate it to, in our life, the fact that I just had to learn a different language. I equate it to, if your child only knows Spanish or French, there's a high probability you're going to go out and learn Spanish or French to help your child thrive.
So
it's the same thing.
Would you say that most people think this is a quick fix? Like, hey, I'm going to put my child in ABA therapy, and when I get them home, they're going to be normal again.
You know what? I'm so glad you said it. I couldn't have said it better. There's that school of thought, and there's also the school of thought that is, I don't want to fix my child. I'm going to meet my child exactly where they are.
Got it.
And I say, I respect that.
Right.
But if I have a typically developing child, which I do, a different child, if they need help reading, well, I'm going to get them a tutor to help them read. I mean, there's
You want them to
different.
thrive.
You always want your children to thrive, no matter what they're doing. We want children to have an independent life.
Correct.
And so what made you decide that something needed to be done, especially given these long wait lists?
So this is the funny part. Well, it's not funny. It's actually tragic, but this is the turning point for me. About 6 months ago, as I sat at the table in therapy after 4 years of behavior therapy, getting 2 to 9 hours a week, which I thought was extreme. 9 hours a week. I thought there's a whole lot of other things I could be doing.
Correct.
But I sat at this table and helped administer therapy. And I finally said to the therapist after 4 years, look, I'm not going to sit at this table anymore. I don't feel like I'm adding any value. I'm just kind of sitting here.
Right.
And I said, but you're welcome to still work with my son. I mean, we want to forge ahead. And she says, oh, well, Colleen, I've been taking data on you for the past year, and you're not using the techniques. So my feeling is that you're not using the techniques when we're not here. And I said, what? What are you talking about? And I said, you're here. So I thought you were supposed to administer the techniques.
You didn't realize that you had to continue the process at home, right?
I didn't know what my role was,
and
what my
obviously
rules
it was
were.
never defined for you either.
It was not defined.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, certainly I'm here for 9 hours a week.
For a year.
Give me, for 4 years.
For 4 years.
Give me a
And
list
they never told her.
of what I'm supposed to do.
Unreal.
Do you know she shows up the next day with a list, 22 bullet points of what I had to do.
Thank
and
goodness.
Thank goodness. And I said, okay, first, why wasn't I given this year one? Let's start there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I highly recommend that you give every parent this list.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, my child thrived more in 2 weeks
Than they did over that 4-year span.
4-year span.
That's
And I said, oh, this is bad.
But at least you made the breakthrough. What if you would have gone another 4 years and hadn't realized even then?
Right.
Yeah.
So we've missed the early intervention component of that. And it's difficult because we don't know if my child will ever be able to live independently. And we had the opportunity. Had she presented me that list, knowing that he thrived so much in 2 weeks after that.
So you bring up a good point. You're not sure if he can ever live independently. Is that because is it only a small window you have to be able to work with them, or is it something that by all working together you can make those same strides?
I'm glad you asked that. That the gold standard for the American Academy of Pediatrics, neurology, psychiatry, the list goes on, is 25 hours to 40 hours of intense early intervention.
Yeah.
That's the part people leave off. They think, well, I have ABA therapy. We're good. We're ready to go. I thought I had 9 hours of ABA therapy. We were doing better than most, I thought. That is so not the case.
Yeah.
So we have missed that intense early intervention that needed the parents' involvement. And that's why we decided to do something about it, because I will not allow, as much as I can, any other parent to go through what we went through.
Right.
We rolled up our sleeves. We did what everybody said. But because there's not enough therapists in the world, You can't do that.
Well, and
much.
imagine how prevalent that is around the country, that's just going on. So
I have to tell you, there's 20,000 people on the waiting list in Florida
alone
on Medicaid for this. That's not even including who self-pays and who's private pay.
Well, tell us about Autism Lizard, because that's your baby, your creation. Tell us all about it and how it works.
So I have had a company, Your Virtual Portal, for 3 years prior to Autism Lizard. 6 months ago, I said, wait a minute. This is a matter of getting on video, modeling the behaviors of the parent and the child, and getting this out to millions over the world. What's the problem? This is not a hard solution to create. So immediately we started filming myself. My son got his school principal, which is a behavior therapist, involved. The board certified behavior therapist. We created Autism Lizard, just started filming and saying, okay, this is what he does at home. How should he act?
Correct.
So we filmed it. We put it in the system that was my original communication platform.
Which is similar to a long-distance learning type program kind of
thing. It's a learning platform.
Yeah.
So, for example, at noon, at 6 p.m., at 9 p.m., in every time zone in the world, every time zone individually, we can be tailoring who's watching what based on an intake form that the parent fills out. My child does this. He's a biter. He's a screamer. He's a tantrumer. He's a whatever. He likes to take his clothes off and run naked. Yeah. That's very common.
Don't we all?
Right? They've got it all figured out.
They got the keys right there.
They do. Yeah. But what we've done is we've tailored it so that every child, based on an intake form, can see what they need to see, and the parent can be learning how they need to cope with that child, what they need to do to educate them on a go forward.
This is interesting because I have a friend from high school whose daughter is autistic, and anytime we have somebody on the show, I always try to present her with the latest information. So autismlizard.com is where she would go. Is there a cost to enrolling?
It's $39 per month.
Okay.
And it's SaaS. It's a software subscription
Sure.
that we can offer. And we also have a teacher component where we invite the teachers on board because the teacher has to do the same thing the parent does, or again, the child will not thrive. Everybody has to be consistent in teaching these behaviors in the early years in order for that child to gain the self-esteem and the skills needed to thrive in the community.
Right. You brought up Orlando earlier, and that's where she had lived. She moved to Texas. She had a great group of people working with her daughter. All of a sudden, when they moved to Texas kind of dropped them on their heads, and they've been in a tailspin. School systems getting money to help. They didn't have the right ratio for helpers to the autistic children, and it's just been an absolute nightmare.
I can imagine.
All over the world.
We're almost out of time, but I know you had another really important thing to discuss. It's basically a law enforcement initiative, correct?
Yes. What's happened is you may have seen in the news about 2 months ago the fact that a therapist was shot when there was an autistic child there, and the child was playing with a toy and didn't know how to get on the ground, didn't know how to put his hands up.
Basically,
when
the police officer came, thought that the child, he was a teenager, right?
He's a big guy, so maybe I'm guessing 18, 20, 22, I'm guessing.
But he's autistic. He's on the spectrum. Autistic. He doesn't know how to respond to commands from the officers.
Right.
So the therapist actually laid on the ground with his hands up, hoping that the kid would mimic it, which he didn't,
right? Shoot. Right.
And then somehow the therapist ended up getting shot by the police.
Right.
And died.
I'm not sure if the person died, but they did get shot. I know that
That's
for
bad
sure.
enough. Yeah.
But when the investigation came out, it indicated that the autistic child was the one that was being aimed for, and he missed.
Wow.
And that's what the investigation says. So my immediate reaction was ask my son if he would put his arms up in the air if a policeman approached him and said, put your hands up.
Yeah.
And he said, no, Mommy, I wouldn't want to get in trouble. And I said, so you wouldn't put your hands in the air? And he said, no, I don't want to get in trouble. How'd
that make you feel? Because you probably assumed he's had therapy.
And he knows the policemen. We see him all the time in town. It's not, he likes to go up to them. I didn't think they would be a threat to him.
Wow.
So immediately I started videotaping and we made a little song. Put your hands in it about the policeman, what to do, following directions. When the policeman comes, beautiful video. You can watch it at www.autismlizard.com/police.
Okay.
And it teaches the autistic child to get on the ground, to put their hands up. And, that's what we have to do. So we've approached the FDLE about this.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this for another hour and a half, but so kudos to you on, I mean, what's very quickly, what are you hoping to get done through the FDLE?
We want to get into all of the schools through the resource officers and make sure that the schools are showing this video to the children who might need it.
Okay.
Some of the underprivileged children in communities where they don't know. This is not only for children with autism, but all children. With working parents, people aren't teaching this to their children anymore.
You bring up a good point. You get it into the school system, but just regular children need to see these videos so they know how to interact
Well, a lot
instead
of kids
of
are brought
pointing
up
them
to be afraid of the police too.
Correct.
Like, like your son thinking he's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, great stuff. And actually, I don't even know if I've mentioned this to you yet, Kimberly, but we're going to go out to a facility with Colleen.
Would love to
visit with her and make a segment for American Medicine Today TV about Autism Lizard.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Colleen Sullivan, co-founder of Autism Lizard, a tailored video on-demand solution for working with children with autism and other related disabilities. Make sure you stay tuned. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thanks for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, still here with my friend Ethan Euchre.
Always glad to be here.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati.
I'm not your friend.
You're the world's friend.
Oh, great.
Dr. Bonati.
Thank you.
Let's look at what's new in medicine today, featuring Alfred Bonati, MD.
So what's going on today, Doc? Insurance?
So, look, I'm getting a little shame. I'm becoming a voice of insurance companies, and I don't like that. But let me tell you this: I need to deal with.
You need to deal with?
I need to deal with population of individuals that, unfortunately, they choose the wrong insurance.
Yes.
And, I think doctors, they need to start to educate their patients to be able to protect them. Because it's pretty bad when you pay a lot of money for one insurance and then suddenly you go to be treated and your insurance is worthless.
Correct.
Okay? It's the same thing that's happening with the VA. The VA give the little card to the vets to be able to be treated, and then suddenly they put them in Medicaid, and the next thing that happens, you go to a doctor and you find the doctor say, I don't take Medicaid.
Right.
So why that little card that is totally useless? Well, certain insurance companies are becoming useless. United Healthcare is an incredible good insurance, and Cigna is an incredible good insurance.
Sure.
I always want to ask you though, Doc, what, as someone who doesn't really know that much about what differentiates different companies, what makes those two better than the rest?
Because the leadership is intelligent.
Okay.
As soon as they saw that Obama was creating a problem and they got trapped in being on the exchange, and then suddenly they start to lose billions of dollars. I think I'm not really sure right now. I don't have a memory of that number, but I think it was around $3 to $4 billion they lost in a year, and then the constituency of the shareholders probably go, and the CEO, very, very astute, immediately came out from the exchanges.
But let's face it. Okay, maybe my opinion's different than yours, Doc, because they all jumped on board as soon as Obama said they were going to get a kickback. They
but the
ran
problem is
for money in their pocket.
Yeah,
and when they found out it wasn't what they signed up for, then all of a sudden their conscience bothered them. And
well, they're losing a lot of money.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not sure.
What really happens is Blue Cross and Blue Shield still isn't there, okay?
Right.
And Humana is still in there. So now it's trying to come out, but the first one who wised up and looked and said, this is a charade, this is a scam. They said, well, I'm not going to live with this. I'm not going to leave my people who trust on my insurance and the people who really took the time to spend the money to a prestigious insurance, suddenly is going to be demoted to low quality insurance just only because the lack of service. So you see that this management not only is intelligent, but at the same time is protecting their own company and protecting their own company, working with the patients, protecting the patients, and also hiring the physicians to perform free. To do good medicine. So
I just ran into someone, just to throw a story out there. Well, I didn't just run into them. I have this long-going home renovation thing going on. And a year into it, a marble fabricator was there, and he was talking about how his wife was on the Obamacare exchange. She was always paying her premiums, which were a lot. And all of a sudden she gets notice that she was canceled, but she has paid all her premiums. She was trying to figure out how that happens.
The same thing actually happened to my wife. I don't think I've even told you guys this, but she, in order to be under my insurance, it would have been a lot more. So she went and got it through one of these Obamacare deals. I don't even know who the provider was, but it was terrible coverage. The premium was out of control. It was like $6,500. She's paying like $250, $280 a month, and it doesn't cover anything.
Correct.
And then she went for some checkup, with the OBGYN deal, and they said it looks like your coverage has been dropped. And she didn't even know about it. They didn't even tell her. It just out of the blue. So I mean, it's just wacky all around, and it doesn't cover anything at all
that you need.
It's typical governmental bureaucracy. The whole thing is a scam. They pass a law that they never read, and then suddenly now they cannot perform because it's impossible to perform that type of a service in the way that Obama envisioned the healthcare. Well, the guy's an idiot and remain in the same position of presidency. I don't understand why. This guy should be impeached by a long time ago.
But if you mention that, you're a racist and a bigot.
So who cares? So who cares what they said?
Oh, I get it.
The real truth is that's what he is. And the problem is the damage to this country is going to take us 20 years to correct it. And it's going to take like every time that the presidency is being managed by a Democrat, takes 2 or 3 presidential gains of Republicans to correct the disasters that they create.
And that's a look at what's new in medicine today with Alfred Bonati, MD.
That is one of those topics that we all feel very passionate about, I think. And I'm sure you do, watching and listening to it at home, feel the same way. You know, if you're being told that nothing can be done, if you're suffering with neck, back, sciatic pain, something called RSD that causes different parts of the body to swell up, you know, there's something that we can do about that at the Bonati Spine Institute with their targeted precision procedures. The Bonati Spine procedures offered nowhere else. Make sure you check them out. You can call 855-267-0483 or visit Bonati.com. Make sure you check us out nationally on Bloomberg Saturdays. And we're here in Tampa, WFTS, KTNV, and Fox 4 in Fort Myers. Make sure you tune us in. And tweet at Dr. Bonati. We'll see you next time.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.